Hello again. I'm back with another video in my Art Books for Creativity series here on YouTube. I'm Tracy Miller and I'm sharing my art book collection, everything that kind of inspires creativity for me, and I hope that it will be something that you can use as well. So last week I was talking about the artist Jean Richardson and a book about her life and her art, and she used a lot of horses as really the subject matter, and horses as mythology and metaphor in her works. And that got me thinking. I have several books that I wanted to share with you for today, and these books also have horses and many other animals in them. And if you are kind of going that way, you like to use animals in your art, well, why not go all the way back to the Stone Ages, basically the Ice Ages, as they say, and use some of the art that our earliest ancestors created. Now, a lot of people think Lascaux caves, of course, best known, but a lot of the art of this whole entire era was found not only on the European continent, in places like France, but Spain, Italy, Yugoslavia, and then moving on down into Africa, over into probably even Siberia. There's rock art all over the world, really, and the more you look into it, the more you'll start to see it. So if you like a lot of this primitive imagery and you're inspired by it and you want to put primitive animals into your artwork, well then books like this are great. The first two, this one is called Images of the Ice Age, and hopefully you get a good look at that. This is an older book, of course, and by Paul Bond and Jean Vertut. And I also have another book by them. They're both very, very similar, a little bit different photos, but I thought I'd just show you a couple of the highlights in this book. This one right here is a fantastic depiction of all of the different horses and bison and deer on the rock walls, and really just a depiction of what daily life must have been like and what the hunter-gatherers maybe saw in the animals. You know, were they not only just a food source, but maybe they were also a religious source for them. Maybe they had their own religions, and they had shamans, and perhaps these drawings and paintings that you would see in the caves were part of ceremonies that they would do. Maybe some of the ceremonies were so that they would have a successful hunt. And it is really just the earliest known art that we as humans know about. And so it can just kind of tell you that for as many years as we have history, we know that humans have wanted to create art and have wanted to share their experience or share something that they saw on the cave walls. Here is some examples of carvings. And again, there's another horse. Horses really loom large in this type of art and at this time period. And then another wall, again, more horses. So this really got me thinking when I talked about Jean Richardson last week and her beautiful horse paintings about these particular books. So this is a second book by the same authors. This one is called Journey Through the Ice Age, an older book again. And even just on the inside cover, you can see what an incredible rock wall photograph that is. So if you're into like the really old stuff, I was as a kid, I loved dinosaurs and everything when I was a little kid. And when I first saw these rock art drawings, I went, wow. I mean, for me, it was kind of a revelation. Here's an incredible wall. This one seems to depict perhaps a migration, perhaps a hunt of deer, and it just is done so beautifully. I mean, without really, who knows what the intent was for this to be art or really just to depict real life, but it would translate honestly into just a beautiful painting, in my opinion, as an artist. This one's a little harder to see. This is a reindeer, and carved into the side of the neck of the reindeer is what we think is a fox, and putting maybe animal magic into another animal. It's hard to really know what was behind the artist's intent there. This one is quite interesting because we don't really know what these shapes are. They could depict something. They could be ladders. They could be symbolism. But it sure is very interesting to look at these and just kind of wonder, what does it all mean? What does it all mean, right? Gets your brain thinking. You know, the more you can look at books like this, and if you're into reading some of the things that, you know, the authors are saying about the art, you know, you'll go to bed at night, maybe you'll dream something overnight, and that will get you into the studio the next day and say, you know, I dreamt something and I want to get in the studio and I want to try and get that out onto canvas or paper or sculpt it. This one here is really amazing. These are two bison, and there is a hunter right here with a spear, and the hunter looks like he might be falling backward. So perhaps in this hunt, he's failing and this bison is going to overtake him, and he's not going to survive this encounter with this big beast. So lots and lots of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rock art. All right, so that is that. This book here is by Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell wrote a lot of books on mythology. And this one here got my attention because it is the mythologies of the primitive hunters and gatherers. And throughout this book, there are also some really great illustrations, as well as some photographs of hunters and gatherers. And this one actually does kind of travel down into the African continent. And I thought there were some fabulous depictions here of rock art. And in this one here, you can see a hunter. He is wearing ceremonial headdress. There's horns on his head. And down here is a whole herd of probably some type of buffalo cow that they've gone after. This one is upside down, so they probably were successful in getting this one. And just kind of showing the hunters, the animals. Here they look like maybe this is the shaman. He could be leading a dance, and all the hunters, you know, so that they would have good medicine going into their hunt. This one is another incredible, incredible rock wall. And you can see just the wide expanse of animals. It almost looks like a mass, what do they call those in Africa, where they take a mass migration of animals and they go from one side of the continent or one end of the continent down to the other, just like we have here in the United States with our migrations of animals from cold to warmer climates. Again, another really incredible wall, and it shows the people along with the animals. So maybe, you know, they had to be hunters and gatherers, and they had to follow their food source for their own sustenance and their own life. And a book from Joseph Campbell, if you want to really delve into more of the mythologies behind all of the animal art, why are the ancient peoples, they would really just look to the animals really for their spiritual guidance. They would mimic the animals. The animals had a wisdom to teach them, and that's how they looked at things probably back then. So it's very interesting if you're looking for, you know, more intention in the kind of art that you create. You're looking to understand why these images appeal to you so much. If you're like me, I kind of like to go into that and dream about that and read about that and try to understand it. Books like these might be a really great source for you. Again, these are just books about ancient rock art and images of the Ice Age. The two authors for these are Paul Bon and Jean Vertut, and Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell, there's many, many, many books by Joseph Campbell. All you have to do is, you know, just get on your favorite book sources like Amazon, of course, and Thrift Books, which is another favorite of mine, and look for these books. Once you get one to pop up, they'll show you more. And that's it for today's talk. This is a short one, and I'll be back next week with something new. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. Bye.